Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Josie's Point of View, where we focus on human nature stories from the Carolinas and beyond. Today it's Tuesday and it's November the 1st, 2022. I can't believe November is here already, but thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, I'd like to extend to you a warm welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you find the information here to be informative. And if you're a return viewer, by all means, thank you for coming back. You know, I always say the tide changes so frequently here on these YouTube streets, so you always have to acknowledge where your support comes from. And I want you to know, I sincerely thank you for your support. Feel free to like and to share this video, and don't forget to subscribe. And our story today takes us to Winston-Salem here in North Carolina. Take a look at that headline. And it reads, Nurse Indicted in Deaths of Two Patients. I'll provide you with a summary here, and as always, I'll place links to a few of the full articles in the description box. Well, I selected this case because it's similar to one I did about a year ago, and it was based on a series of events that took place at a VA hospital in West Virginia. The case shown here were several patients had died, all of which seemed to take place, all of the deaths seemed to take place when one particular nursing assistant was working on the night shift. Now, she eventually pled guilty to killing 7 and injuring a few others by injecting them with large doses of insulin, a medication she was not even licensed to administer. Now, she pled guilty eventually and received a life sentence, and that was over a year ago. And now we see a similar case happening again, and this time it's very close to home. So our story focused on this young man, 47-year-old Jonathan Hayes, a registered nurse of over 21 years, and until recently, he was an employee at Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center, which is located in Winston-Salem. He'd been there for the past, off and on, for the past 15 years. Well, last Tuesday, he was charged in the death of 2 of his patients and the attempted murder of another. And these allegations were made by administrators at the hospital, who have indicated that Mr. Hayes is responsible for the death of those patients. So first, let's begin with an overview of the patients involved in this investigation and the information that was presented to the district attorney's office. And the first patient known to have been impacted by Mr. Hayes' action was Pamela Jean Little, age 62. Very little information is available on her background. However, reports say Mrs. Little suffered a medical event or a medical emergency on December 1st, last December, and it was determined that she had been given a very large dose of insulin. Fortunately for her, she was able to be treated for this medical event, and she survived. That was the first known case, the first victim. And here is victim number 2. Her name, Gwen Zelda Crawford, age 61. Reports say Mrs. Crawford lived in Winston-Salem for 5 months prior to her death. They say she lived most of her life in Birmingham, Alabama, and moved to Winston-Salem last September in order to obtain better health care. Reports say she was a patient receiving dialysis, had been on dialysis for 14 years. She was also confined to a wheelchair because one of her legs had been amputated. And during one of her dialysis treatment sessions, sometime around Christmas, she began having chest pain. She was rushed to the hospital. It was determined that open heart surgery was needed. And she had that surgery at Atrium Wake Forest Medical Center. Family said the surgery went well. She was recovering well. But she spent 5 days in the ICU, and then through her recovery, she experienced an unexpected medical event that sent her back into the ICU. It was reported that on January the 5th, she received a lethal dose of insulin, and she died on January the 8th, 3 days later. That was victim number 2. And then in late January, there was a third incident, another victim. And this time the victim was Vicki Lynn Lingerfield, age 62. Now, not much information is available about her, but reports say that she was given a lethal dose of insulin on January the 22nd, and she died on January the 27th, 5 days later. That was victim number 3. And make no mistake, when you have patients dying who are not supposed to die, the hospital administrators, they're in a state of panic and they're determined to find out exactly what's going on because it's not good for business. And I'm sure various internal committees were set up to get to the bottom of whatever it was happening. Because you see, unexplained patient deaths can affect the hospital's credibility in the community as well as its accreditation. First, they determine what caused the patient to die. They already knew that. And then they need to find out who was responsible. And after Wake Forest Baptist had conducted their own internal investigation, they determined a common thread. In all three cases, the same registered nurse had been their provider, and that was 47-year-old registered nurse Jonathan Hayes. Hospital administrators then presented their findings to the Wake Forest Police Department on March the 21st, and then a death investigation began. And based on their findings, the district attorney office also got involved. First, Hayes was fired from his job at the hospital on March the 18th. Then a joint press conference was conducted between spokesperson for the hospital, the police, and the district attorney's office. At that press conference, it was announced that an arrest had been made. And Jonathan Hayes was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Vicki Lynn Lingerfield and Gwen Crawford and the attempted murder of Pamela Little. Police say this case is not about an accident and that what happened to these women were willful acts conducted by this professional registered nurse who was directly responsible for their care. Now, Hayes had his first court appearance last Wednesday. I believe he was in the Forsyth County District Court where he heard the charges as well as the arrest warrant. At that time, bond was denied until the next court appearance, which is scheduled for November the 10th, which is next week. The district attorney has stated that they do not have a motive for Hayes' actions, but they are convinced that he acted alone. So on November 10th, it will probably be determined whether he would be released on bond. Now, the DA has also gone on record to say that all options are currently on the table. However, he wanted to speak with the family of all of the victims first before deciding whether he would pursue the death penalty. This is a very unfortunate case because a patient going to a hospital for medical care is already feeling vulnerable, and then to have professionals who, for reasons that are unclear, does not aid in their recovery, that's anxiety producing for me. I wonder what was going through his mind. How could someone who has invested 21 years in this caring profession suddenly decide to go rogue, allegedly? When I go to the hospital, I look to the nurse to take care of me, not the doctors who write the orders and disappear. I look to the nurse to provide me the best possible care. But we may never know what was going through his mind during that period. But this just reinforces that we need to continue to ask those probing questions and to seek second and third opinions when the outcome of care is not as expected. And that's all I have for you right now. Feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about this video. And by all means, feel free to like it and to share it. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel by clicking on that red subscribe button. It's on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And if you click on the bell that looks just like this one, that's a notification bell. If you click on that notification bell, you'll be the first to know whenever a new video is uploaded. I thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.